Hi everyone, I'm Ron Cantor and you're watching Out of Zion on GODTV. In our last episode, we talked about the Kibbutz Movement, the collective farming system that began in Israel in 1909 right here in Degania. While I'm no fan of socialism, it was successful as long as Israel's existence depended on it. But what happened once Israel finally stabilized? First, let me tell you how a kibbutz worked. The ideology came out of Eastern Europe and Russia. The layout of a kibbutz was simple. You had a residential area. The children, at least for the first few decades, would sleep not in their own home, but in the children's house. Remember, everything was equal. Common grounds for swimming and dining, and an auditorium for meetings and entertainment. Ilan and I once went to a costume party on the Jewish feast of Purim at a kibbutz. The kibbutz life is simple. Everything you needed is on the kibbutz. In most cases, cars are not needed, as you either walk or bike to your destination. In some cases, golf carts are used. In the early years, there was a large focus on equality in all things. Women would do any job that the men did. However, things have changed today. While the women still work, they focus on less strenuous jobs such as teaching, and in every kibbutz there's a need for doctors and nurses. Everyone in the kibbutz works on the kibbutz. In rare situations, some are sent outside of the kibbutz because of their skill in a particular area. One of my wife's childhood friends is a leader in his kibbutz outside of Beersheba in the desert. Each day he leaves to go to work in the computer industry, but according to the ideals of kibbutz life, he freely turns over his paycheck to the kibbutz. Now, why would he do that? He loves the kibbutz life. If ever there was a model of socialism that should have succeeded, it was the Israeli kibbutz. Why? Unlike in the Soviet Union and its satellites, there was no one getting fat at the top at the expense of the workers. What held them together was not a totalitarianism as we see in Cuba. In fact, I'm not sure when this will air, but we know that Fidel Castro just passed away. But here it was a shared desire to see the rebirthed nation prosper. They were committed to the prophetic declarations, such as we see in Psalm 102, verse 16. For the Lord will rebuild Zion and appear in his glory. In Amos 9:14, they will rebuild the ruined cities and live in them. They will plant vineyards and drink their wine. They will make gardens and eat their fruit. Ironically, they loved the prophecies, but they were not very religious. Nevertheless, the kibbutzim were dependent on the state to forgive their debts. But in the mid-'80s, the state could no longer afford the status quo. Things had to change. While a minority of kibbutzim remained loyal to the founder's motto, from each according to his ability to each according to his need, most have abandoned the purely socialist ideals. When kibbutzim kids went to university, they were often presented with a new and exciting world of opportunities. To make ends meet, most of the kibbutzim, in addition to farming, opened up wedding halls, hotels, and even a water park. In fact, on our way to this kibbutz, we passed a kibbutz that is now a kennel for dogs. In nearly 80% of the kibbutzim, there have been massive reforms. Children now sleep at home with their parents. Members get paid according to their contribution, not need. Home ownership is now allowed. And members can work outside jobs and contribute a portion to the kibbutz. This has led to a revival in the Kibbutz Movement, which still contributes over 80% of Israel's produce. It is hard to separate the Kibbutz Movement from the Zionist dream. They go hand in hand. And while communism is a failed economic system, it did work long enough in Israel's Kibbutz Movement for the nation to stabilize. Now make sure you go to God.TV/Zion so you never miss an episode. And you can find me at roncantor.com.
Please follow Ron on Twitter and Facebook at Ron S. Cantor to find out more about Ron and his ministry. For more information on GODTV and the Out of Zion programs, or to view these programs again, go to god.tv/Zion.